Shelldock Isle, play it, put Emrakul under it, untap, and then cast Emrakul. But then there's also a Cloud of Fairies. So if he has a Brainstorm when he casts Doomsday, he can actually cast the Emrakul in one turn by playing Isle, putting Emrakul under it, playing Cloud of Fairies, untapping Isle, and then casting Emrakul from under that. Wow. It requires a little more mana, but it's a very important option to have.
Wow, yeah, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on here. So for those who are just joining us, I'm Gavin Verhey in the booth, and I'm here with guest host Ben Hayes. He has to leave in a couple minutes. And we're in round 4 of the Star City Games Open Series Legacy portion here in Edison, New Jersey. On the right of your screen, Gerry Thompson, a man who needs a little introduction. He's playing the Doomsday Show and Tell deck that got second last week. Ben and I were just talking about it. Ben also played it today. Gerry's same list and didn't do so well in the tournament, but he was able to guide us a little through how it works. On your left, on your screen right now, is Bing Luke. Bing is a Magic Online player, Prolipsis 9, who has found a lot of success lately, qualified for Worlds through Magic Online, and is playing a pretty standard counterbalance deck. He's got some Fire Spouts main deck, some Trinket Mages, and then all the cards you would expect to see in a counterbalance deck that has green in it for Tarmogoyf.
And it looks like he just got his counterbalance forced. Gerry pitched Cloud of Fairies, so Gerry's hand is a couple of Doomsdays, an Underground Sea.
Is that a Show and Tell?
That looks like another Force of Will to me. Oh no, it's a Brainstorm.
Okay.
And another blue card, which may be a Show and Tell.
Yeah, I thought that might have been a Show and Tell.
He has a land,
we'll see.
So that's Island, Show and Tell.
Yeah.
Show and Tell?
Yeah, it's like double Show and Tell.
3 Show and Tells?
Yeah, he's going to put 2 of them back here.
Is the last card in his hand a fetch land back there?
No, it doesn't look like it.
He wouldn't.
So he's just going to have a bunch of Show and Tells running around here. And I don't think he's got a triple black, so he can't Doomsday yet either. So he's just going to be stuck drawing these Show and Tells.
Yeah, this looks pretty bad for Gerry, although I mean, we can't see.
Oh, another counterbalance. How bad is counterbalance for the Doomsday deck?
I mean, it's pretty bad for Gerry. I mean, it's not bad without top. It's not like Storm where you can just natural them out, but it does lock you out, especially with lists like Bing's where he has a very diverse mana curve. Like he has a lot of 3s,
right?
Which makes counterbalance just much better against Doomsday.
Right. Yeah,
there's Doomsday and Show and Tell.
And
if he floats a 3 on top.
He has 2 Trinket Mages and 3 Fire Spouts, which is 5, which gives him a reasonable chance. So what Gerry just did here is he has nothing to put into play in his hands, but obviously Bing can't let the Show and Tell resolve.
Right.
So he just bluffs it out there, and Bing is going to have to burn some kind of counter on it. Looks like maybe we're going to see Force here. Yeah, he forces. Removing spells.
So Gerry making good use of those Show and Tells, and since he Show and Tell this turn, one thing that's interesting is he has a 3rd Show and Tell on the top of his deck, I believe, which he can just cast, and Bing has to have an answer. I mean, doesn't have to have an answer, but if he does, we'll counter that one too.
Right.
Which will leave Gerry with an LED, 2 Doomsdays, and a Show and Tell.
Right, and if he doesn't counter the second Show and Tell, that tells Gerry that he's pretty much has no counter magic left, and if he draws a black for that Doomsday, he can just go for it.
Right. So Bing just played Jace. And I have to go.
All right, so Ben has to step out for his draft open.
All right, Jace makes this tough for Gerry because he can't put an Emrakul into play with Show and Tell.
Rough times for Mr. Thompson. Thank you for joining us, Ben. We'll probably catch up with you later, and good luck in your draft open.
Yeah, thanks. See ya.
Yep, take care. So, and Glenn Jones hops in the booth. How's it going today, Glenn?
Pretty good. Bit of a slow start due to the finals of the last event. But
yeah, it's still great to see Patrick Sullivan take that tournament down. So,
Jason, a counterbalance.
Yeah, this is a pretty rough spot for Gerry.
Close game.
I mean, Gerry has cast 2 Show and Tells with nothing to put into play, and Bing has managed to deal with both of them.
Oh, you mean he just played them as bait?
Yeah, he just played them as bait. He's got a 3rd Show and Tell. He brainstormed and he drew 2 Show and Tells and no way to crack his land, so he's just been stuck. And he's 2 Doomsdays as well, but he's missing the 3rd black source to cast that Doomsday. So yeah, I think things not looking super up for Gerry here, but if anyone can maneuver out of a situation like this, he's one of the few players I think that could do it.
And a top go along with that counterbalance. That's probably going to make things tricky. Jace top counterbalance.
Looks like Gerry just drew a stifle. Maybe that does something, but
probably not.
Probably not. Being as
counters Jace's ultimate.
That's a good time to use it. Not so good against top counterbalance though. No. Especially since stifle costs 1. Bing is obviously a very, very technically savvy player. He plays a ton of Magic online, and so this is an amazing matchup.
Behind Gerry is Eric Mason, our finalist with Doomsday from the previous event.
Interesting. So he probably flunked out of the tournament and is just looking.
I would guess so. Yeah.
At Gerry, trying to think like, what would I do here? What is Gerry doing here? Is what I would do right, or is what Gerry would do right? But Gerry, this game just doesn't seem to have a lot of play going on for him.
No, but he is playing a deck where if you get a turn, that's really all you need. And now it begins, the fate stealing. Bing's found the correct combination of cards on top that he can continue shuffling around, so he doesn't need Jace anymore.
Yeah, and oh man,
that's not good.
Leaving the card back when they think it's a little better, but still leaving the card there is brutal. Limdol's Vault, I think, is what he drew.
Yep.
Okay.
Interesting choice to leave.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously he can counter it too.
Right. As long as he has the ability to counter it too. I think he's just worried about Gerry finding a way to carefully maneuver his way into a situation where he can resolve that vault. But even if he does resolve the vault, this is still pretty rough going.
Blindside Diamond. I have a feeling we've got that one covered too.
And Bing quickly moves some cards at the top. Flip. Counter. Wow. Gerry just does not have much action going on at this point.
Bing shuffling away those top cards.
Alright, well apparently there wasn't what he was looking for there.
Let's see, we've got... we have Bing's list. I haven't actually examined it. He's got... looks like he's playing the Trinket Mage version.
Yeah, it's a pretty standard version of Counterbalance though. I mean, he does have the green for the Tarmogoyfs, but I feel like that's pretty standard. He's got Fire Spout like Gerry did back in San Jose.
He's not running Mishra's Factories or Wastelands. Gerry usually like to run one or the other, but he's running none of those, just lands to make your mana better.
Which is nice, because then he can't be wastelanded, and he feels like that's a big problem for him.
Yeah, looks pretty standard. I don't really see anything especially peculiar.
Yeah, and Gerry still passes without much going on over there. Versus Counterbalance Jace, Sensei's Divining Top on Big Luke's side, blocking Gerry out from doing much of anything at all.
Bing sitting on Force over there.
Yeah,
also.
I mean, here comes Brainstorm, but I doubt that's going to be able to resolve either.
He's really just hoping he can put Bing into a position where Gerry can just untap and actually be able to do something. Like if Bing doesn't have a 1, he might have to pop the top, or he might have to let him have a Brainstorm, either way. Oh, he's popping the top and it's getting stifled.
Oh, very nice.
Well, I mean, he knows he doesn't have a 1, so he knows the stifle's resolving here, right?
Yeah, I mean, found a good use for that stifle, that's for sure.
Now, is he stifling the tap draw, or the... okay, he stifled the tap draw, because he could also be stifling the Counterbalance trigger after the top draws.
Right.
Interesting that he chose to do the other.
I guess he's content to leave that top in play. Maybe he's going to try and resolve more 1s this turn.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm thinking. He actually doesn't want a 1. Now that he knows his opponent is cold on 1s. What he doesn't know is his opponent does have a Force of Will. So... got a land. That's going to be nice.
Alright. Gerry found a land. And he's got triple black. He goes for Doomsday.
Doom in the days. Doom in the days. Brainstorm in response.
Bing brainstorms in response. Does Bing have a 3 in his hand?
No, he has a Force. I think he's doing it for value, maybe. Like, he obviously knows the top of his deck.
Well, maybe he's trying to see if he can Gerry to spend a force on this too.
I only know he has a force. I don't know what the other card is, so it's possible he's got.
Yeah. I mean, Gerry definitely has a force. Yep, and here comes force. Pitch, show and tell.
And I think Bing doesn't have another blue card to go with his force, and you see his leg tapping, like, you kind of just realize now he's in a really bad spot.
Yeah. Wow.
And Bing doesn't have Wasteland, so that's not going to be a way out of the Shelldock aisle.
Man, Gerry looks so far behind, and he just found the exact line of play
Yep.
and navigate himself back into the game. That is what makes you a master of playing decks like this. Is when you know exactly how to do it.
Oh, if he's going to try and...
And Bing's like,
what
all right.
What is he doing?
Like,
he can't pop his top.
Yeah.
What is it? I guess we need to know his other card.
Well, he's trying to hit a 3 on top.
He's just going to random it?
Yeah, he's just going to random it. And he has 5 3s in his deck.
Yes.
So it's not not awful odds.
No. Just another day in the life of Gerry T, if that hits though.
I mean,
let's go back to that. Not awful. Like they're not as awful as they could be.
All right, let's see.
He
if
is
he finds
topping
it.
to whiff on one.
He is not moving his cards quickly.
Nope.
All right, well, he does put one card on top. Reveals
Force
force to counter force. Oh, so he actually had a lot more outs, right? 'Cause yeah.
Sure.
Force to counter force. Okay. So brainstorm results.
Hits in the force.
Fire
spout.
Oh my! So he
has
can counter
3.
Doomsday.
Wow.
Oh, what a blowout against Gerry.
What a sick top
another
3
day in the
cards.
life
And
indeed.
Gerry picks it up.
He's like,
that's it.
I don't want any more of this nonsense. And that is that.
What a brutalization that was.
Yeah, I mean, there was like a brief moment where I thought maybe Gerry could get back into it. But,
no, I mean, it came down to that. Like,
so as the players reach for their sideboards,
he looked ice cold, and then just all of a sudden,
yeah, he had a chance, but then Bing found it. But if Bing just didn't find that
right,
either of those cards there, Gerry would have had an opportunity, which is pretty
that's
amazing.
one of the beautiful things about playing a deck like Doomsday, or playing anything like Thopter Depths back and Extended, like all of these decks that are powerful.
Yes.
Is when your opponent makes a mistake, or when you get that one opportunity. You know, the game doesn't drag out while you try and get a Tarmogoyf through or Fate Seal your Jason. They're just dead.
Yeah, and the people who know how to play it well really are able to navigate in that position.
Yep.
So the card Gerry talked about, now that he grabbed his sideboard, Carpet of Flowers. He said this is the card.
Flowers.
Carpet of Flowers, we looked it up earlier. It's right here, just so we get to reference it.
Oh, that's right. He said he's playing this instead of the white that Eric was playing.
Right, he's playing Carpet of Flowers, which says at the beginning of each of your main phases, if you haven't added mana to your mana pool with this ability this turn, you may add up to X mana of any one color to your mana pool, where X is the number of islands target opponent controls.
Oh, that's intriguing.
So, as Alex Bertoncini said, if you think Lotus Cobra is nuts, just wait till you see Carpet of Flowers in action. You play this out on turn 1 against that deck, and basically you can just cast all of your combo cards in all the time, so it's really easy to accelerate something out quickly. And yeah, this is what Gerry is playing.
Definitely a very peculiar card, but
yeah,
certainly seems strong when you're trying to just chain together things like Lindol's Vault.
Yeah, I mean, he said on Wednesday he came up with Carpet of Flowers, and the rest of the time was spent figuring out how they're going to get Carpet of Flowers. So yeah, he's definitely boarding those in. Repeal likely comes in here, I would imagine, as a choice against beat Counterbalance. Reverent Silence, also a decent card against Counterbalance. And for those who don't know what Reverent Silence does, it's one of the free spells from Mercadian Masks block, and they can gain 6 life. You can play it for free, and it destroys all enchantments, or destroys a enchantment. Is it all? It's all enchantments, right?
It's all enchantments.
All enchantments. Brain Freeze, no, it's not coming in. I don't think he's going to bring in a sub combo here.
Maybe Needle or Wipe Away.
Maybe, yeah, Wipe Away for Counterbalance. He has this one Condemn in his sideboard that he can't actually cast. They needed a 15th card at the last second, and they were like, oh, well, we'll play this place one Condemn, except it didn't really work out because they can't cast it. The only way they can cast it is off Lion's Eye Diamond. So the situation is going to be pretty rare. Pretty
rare, yeah.
On Bing's
People
side,
have won with smaller sideboards.
On Bing's side, let's see, Pyroblast maybe comes in potentially, and Reb. Spell Pierce is a card.
Yeah, Spell Pierce is a big game, but it's not as good against Carpet of Flowers.
I mean, it's good on the Carpet of Flowers, but on the draw, he's not going to have that opportunity.
Now, he doesn't really have a reason to bring in his Crows and Grips, right?
Not yet.
He may in the
if there's a game
coming
3.
games.
Yeah. I think the biggest question for me with Bing's sideboarding is, do you leave in Fire Spout?
Just as a 3 to counter
Just
Doomsday?
as a 3 to counter Doomsday, yeah.
I think in that case, he's probably just more likely to switch those out for Crows and Grips straight up. Like, if that becomes a consideration.
Sure.
because
Sure.
that
I mean, the
card
Fire
just has
Sprout
strictly
actually
more
has
playability.
0 game
yeah.
text.
It has 0, whereas Crows and Grip might catch one of
Yeah,
Jerry's
okay.
tops. So, or
Yeah.
Lion's Eye Diamonds, of course.
I mean, I guess the bigger question is how many
Lion's Eye
threes do you want
Diamond.
in your deck? I mean,
Yeah.
because having a 3 seems so crucial. Like, because counterbalance, like, it's good otherwise, but if you can't counter either of the crucial cards on a counterbalance, it loses a lot of its value.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the other cards you could take out, and there just aren't a ton. I mean, explosives maybe. Ben Hayes, who played Jerry's deck in the tournament today, said Pithy Needle is really important for Bing Luke in this matchup. So
Okay.
he's not gonna take out that needle.
Hmm.
So doesn't look like Bing has a ton of maneuverability besides taking out Fire Spout and Pithy Needle. Oh, and Swords of Plowshares too. I missed those. Sorry. The swords are almost certainly coming out.
Yeah.
Um,
They're just complete blanks. So.
yeah. So maybe one Fire Spout could be left in. I'm not totally certain on how Bing sideboarded here. So Jerry looks at his opening hand, and I believe it's a Carpet of Flowers right there, all the way to the left.
Happy day.
And will be thrilled if he gets to play that. Okay, he goes turn 1 top.
Does he have a fetch line there?
He might just think that turn 1 top is more important.
Sure. I was just asking because this hand's like a lot looser if he doesn't have a fetch land.
Yeah, oh, almost
He
certainly.
can't cast Thoughtseize or Carpet.
Doomsday.
Doom of the day. This was a really good round for feature matches, incidentally. We also have Alex Hatfield versus AJ Stacker
Oh
happening
wow, that is a really
behind
good
him.
feature match.
Yep.
I mean, yeah.
And Colosso Fuentes versus Adam Barnello is the other match.
Oh wow, geez, that's the Route 3
nice
insane.
round.
I mean, I think this is still the number 1 pick.
Oh, of course.
But man,
Not
those
close.
are 2 great feature matches. You guys will want to check out the written coverage if there's any for this round.
Not for this round.
Okay. So Bing reveals his hand. 2 blasts, Jace, and 2 counterbalances. What do you think you take here for Jerry? Because there's redundancy in both the blasts and in the 2 counterbalances. Do you just try and whittle him down on blasts, or do you feel like maybe you have to try and take that Jace because it's the outlier? I don't know if you can afford to take one of the counterbalances.
I feel like taking the Jace is kind of loose. He's already going to have to be digging to find those anyway, and he's not going to find lands for the Jace. He's not going to actually find them for a little while because he's probably deploying counterbalance next turn.
I think you have to take one of the blasts, right?
I think that's probably correct here.
But we can see Jerry doing something totally different, and I wouldn't be too surprised.
Oh, took a counterbalance.
There you go.
Yep.
Jerry knows what he's doing.
Well, he's probably just going to plan to try and force the counterbalance if Bing tries it now. Because he knows Bing can't afford to wait to get a Pyroblast online.
Right.
Because he has no lands, like he actually has to find them. So that buys Jerry a full turn. Otherwise, Bing would fearlessly run a counterbalance out right here. Jerry can force it, he just doesn't want to. But Bing has to respect the presence of the force.
And there's a green card, or the green land rather.
Bayou, Doomsday, Underground Sea.
So that Bayou would be pretty good at both casting Doomsday and casting that Carpet of Flowers. And maybe do we see Carpet coming down this turn?
I think we will. It certainly can't be Pyroblasted, so...
Yeah, I'm excited to see this in action. It's a card that, yep, here we go. Carpet of Flowers. And what
the
do you
read?
think the odds are Bing Luke's
Are we picking it up
this?
and reading it? Well, I don't know. Bing's a Moto Grinder. He probably plays Urza block drafts all the time. He's gotten those 15th. You know?
Sure. I mean, no, that's the point. You get a 15th. Why did you read them?
Every now and then, you like mouse over and you're like, oh, that's what it does.
That's fair. All right, so yeah, Bing clearly knows what he does. He's thinking, and he just decides to top. So Carpet of Flowers looks like it's going to get active for Jerry on the next turn.
Will that matter? He's cracking that Misty. Interesting.
Okay, so he shuffles it away. Presumably to try and find 3 new cards, maybe an answer to the mana boost that Jerry's about to pick
Gets
up.
another red source so that he can plan for double pyro fights later.
Yep. And let's see, does he have a forest in his deck? I was going to say maybe he would get a forest to turn off the Carpet of Flowers a little bit, but yeah, he does have a forest he could have potentially gotten, but I mean, obviously the red-blue source is so crucial here.
Yeah. Shame he doesn't have a Taiga.
No, he does not have Taiga. All of his dual lands are blue.
Yeah, rightly so.
I mean, all the good ones, right?
Well, Carpet's down.
And it looks like there's a Spell Pierce in Bing's hand, but that's not going to be
He
doing
did
much.
find his land.
And here comes down Counterbalance. Gerry going to try forcing this? Yep,
Yeah,
he
sure.
forces.
Could just Lindell's Vault.
And Bing's going to pierce this. And don't pierce me, bro, but
Throws the force on top of it. So Jerry's just going to untap in Doomsday.
yeah, I mean...
He knows enough of Bing's hand. He knows that Bing drew a Tarn this turn, so he's not actually fearing a Force of Will here.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Gerry
Because
can
of the fetch
Doomsday.
land, he knows that Bing doesn't know any of his own top cards, so if he pops a top to try and find a Force, it'll just be blind.
And that Doomsday will probably take things for Gerry, assuming that, I don't know what Bing
It
could
resolves
do
and
to
he
mess it
doesn't
up.
choose the wrong cards.
Yeah, I mean, that's always the issue with Doomsday. I mean, Jerry's a very good player, but man, Doomsday is also a very complex card.
I made the joke last week that Doomsday went undefeated in the top 8 because somebody always died once it got played.
It's true. Yeah, the game, either the person concedes immediately or the other person just loses. So,
Yeah.
I mean, Gerry knows what he's doing, but
Jerry tops, finds some satisfactory cards there. And a second Doomsday. He's just going to cast this one. Bing can pop his top blind to try and stop it, or his hand is Jace Pyro. Oh, blind! The blind counterbalance.
what a dagger for
It
Gerry.
feels so dirty.
What a dagger for
And it is a
Gerry
Crozen Grip,
indeed.
which is even worse. He's going to lose his top on the next turn, or his carpet. Either one is very bad.
Oh, man. So Jerry's looking out with his top, and he does not have much action there. There's a Thoughtseize and 2 lands. One of them is a fetch, so he can at least shuffle what he has away, but oh, what a beat for Gerry there.
That was... Whew.
And now Bing is going to...
Immediately.
Yeah. Split second, thank you. Now Bing is going to start taking control of this
Yeah.
game.
Now Gerry does have another Doomsday, so now Bing has to hit a 3 again at random. Which... Gerry just casually flips over the Doomsday, right? Checks the other card first.
Alright, here
Bing's
comes
like,
Counterbalance.
yeah, alright. Flip.
That is a 4.
We got that time.
Got one too many. And the action that normally equates with scooping up your permanence occurs, but not quite.
Not this time. Man, that was brutal last turn, though.
Yeah. So now comes the tanking part. What 5 cards do I get? Gerry has clearly thought through this several times, but still, it is a crucial question.
Repeal appears to be one of them. He's thinking about whether he wants to repeal or not. I imagine we've got Emrakul, Sheldock Isle. Now, he did unfortunately lose that top, which is rough. It would have been pretty helpful this turn to let him pop it,
Yeah, I mean,
drop Sheldock Isle.
I mean, the top is definitely huge here, but I mean, obviously resolving Doomsday is the
Yeah.
big deal. So
Being about as curious as we are at this point, I think.
So what 5 cards do you think Gerry gets? I think he just goes for Sheldock Isle, Emrakul, Cloud of Fairies.
Like, he has to be able to beat a Jace,
Right.
because he knows his opponent has 2.
You don't think he boarded in the Brain Freeze combo, right? So probably not.
Probably not. He's allowing Bing to look
Okay,
through his deck
well-
to show him how he sideboarded, which is smart. You should always do this for a Doomsday player. You want to know what you took, what you want to make sure you figure out how they adjusted the deck.
Yeah. And so that's Cloud Fairies on top of
Didn't
Jerry's
get-
stack. So it seems like Gerry was probably thinking about it and decided
Yeah.
not to take it. And that means that Cloud is not in his
He
Doomsday
left in the
stack.
repeal. We also saw that in there.
Okay. Left in tops.
Yep. Duress
So-
is in there still.
So the crafty player Bing is, he's trying to figure out what is in Jerry's Doomsday stack. What
Mhm.
cards are missing?
Clearly, Sheldock Isle, Emrakul, but I think we all kind of guessed that one.
Right.
Gerry checking his own. Rearranging it a little. Yeah.
He's like, when I shuffle my deck later, I don't want all these tops to be in one place. Nice try, Bing Luke. Would have gotten away with it too.
For that meddling carpet.
Every time. Alright, so Bing taps Tropical Island.
Did he draw something here? Or is he? No, he drew a Jace, so he's topping for sure. And he doesn't really have anything else to do. He has Jace, Jace, Pyroblast, Red Elemental Blast, so he could pop the top to draw a land, but that's not really important to do. There's no reason. You can just draw the land, play it next turn, assuming you have a next turn.
And now Bing is like, well, I hope Gerry messed up on his Doomsday piles.
Yeah, he's not in a great spot, although he has the Jace, so
I mean, the Jace is nice. The thing about the Shelldock Isle, for those
you
who
can
don't,
end of turn. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, other thing about Shelldock Isles is it gives you the extra turn too.
Yeah.
So I mean, you annihilate his board, not much you can do. I mean, for those who are just joining us, I'm Gavin Verhey here with Glenn Jones, and we're watching round 4 of the Star City Games Open Series here in Edison, New Jersey. On the right side, you have Gerry Thompson with, that's right, a 5-card deck. He just resolved Doomsday. He just set up his piles. And the green card that's weirdly on the table you might not recognize is Carpet of Flowers, which gives Gerry extra mana every turn equal to the number of islands that his opponent has on the battlefield.
He grabbed another Shelldock Isle.
And it looks like, yeah, 2
That's
Shelldock Isles. And I'm sure there was an Emrakul in there too.
Yeah, he already put the Emrakul down there.
And on the left side is Bing Luke, who's got 3 lands, all conveniently islands for purposes of that Carpet of Flowers, and a counterbalance. He's trying to get back into this game after Gerry just resolved Doomsday and is wrecking havoc. If Bing doesn't find an answer here, it's going to be Emrakul next turn, and that should be a game.
Bing just has forces. Looks like Force, Jace, Pyro. Obviously, so is the REB. Tops around. No, only 5 cards. There's Pyro, REB, Jace, Force. Tearing some Aeons.
Yep.
That's all of them.
All the Aeons.
All the Aeons.
He took every Aeon possible.
And Bing realized that with no permanence, Emrakul is pretty tough to beat.
Yes. It turns out, unless you're playing Storm, that is the one deck that can do it. Because you're like, all right, I lost all my lands. Lotus Petal, Lion's Eye Diamond, Infernal Tutor, cracked my Lion's Eye Diamond. That's that. So here we go into game 3. Bing Luke's going to be on the play this one. So Bing's on the play, and I wonder if maybe he might change up his sideboarding for this game, but probably not. I think both players are probably happy with how this sideboarded. Gerry might go back to some kind of. No, I don't think he's going to bring in the Helm of Awakening Brain Freeze package. I don't think he feels like he needs that. Jerry's looking through his sideboard. He sees that Condemn sitting there, just in case. And trying to figure out what happened. Bing looked in a good position, but I don't know. Maybe I messed up with that Croson Grip. I'm not sure. Like, if he had top in play, he could have just left it on top, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, once with the Croson Grip still on top, it's just really hard for Gerry to actually get down a Doomsday, and that's the only way you can win.
And killing Jerry's top might have not been that important. I mean, he seemed pretty happy to do it, but
I guess he figured Gerry can't assemble a win if he doesn't have a card filter effect like top going on.
Right. It just so happened Gerry had the Doomsday.
Yeah, Gerry didn't need to assemble a win. He had 2.
Yeah.
And only one of them had been countered thus far.
That's the thing about a deck like Gerry's. It has 8 3-cost sorceries that all are very, very threatening.
Yeah.
And so the odds you have 2 in your hand, are reasonable.
I think he probably let his, kill top on sight mentality kind of take over there.
Yeah.
When you get a chance to kill a top in Legacy in that kind of position where your opponent's really low on cards and on options, it's generally correct to do so. even come and talk to me yet, buddy. You gotta finish your matches faster. I've been bugging Christian Calcano for a deck tech, but it's been taking forever. It's a cool deck. I want to deck tech it.
What?
It's like Merfolk, but with Tarmogoyfs and Grim Lavamancies instead of Merfolk. Like, it's sweet. Yeah.
That actually seems ridiculous. So Meisenhower, who just came into the finals of the standard event, is currently 4-0, playing Affinity with Galvanic Blast.
Solid card. Affinity with Galvanic Blast.
Seems like a reasonable card. A lot of people just don't expect the reach. I mean, they'll might be
Sure.
expect Shrapnel Blast or something, right?
Yeah.
But not 1 mana to take 4 damage.
Sure. All it takes is things like that, especially in Legacy, where the margins are so small. Like, yeah, they can't kill me for 1 mana.
Yeah, and you can, figure out how to. You can just kill like creatures with it sometimes that are in your
Sure.
way, So it looks like Gerry is taking a mulligan here. So Gerry going down to 6 cards, and he's going to be on the draw for this game. So we'll get a card to make up for it, but being on the play in Bing's position is pretty advantageous. It gives him an extra turn to assemble Counterbalance, an extra turn to assemble Sensei's Divining Top.
Yeah, Gerry really wants to be on the play, because if he can take a top out of Bing's opening hand, it usually can just take it apart.
Yeah, I mean Thoughtseize is so much better on the play.
Ooh, we got a carpet. Yep, there's the top. Settling in, boys and girls, settling in.
And there's the top on turn 1. And now it's Gerry's turn. He plays down Verdant Catacombs. And it just passes the turn back, sitting on his Verdant Catacombs. And Bing rearranges his cards carefully. Let's see. It looks like Gerry's hand there's an Emrakul in Gerry's hand, which kind of sucks, although with Brainstorm it's not quite as bad. He's got a Polluted Delta. Couldn't really make out the rest of it. We've been seeing Gerry go for the Doomsday combo 2 games in a row here, but realistically, Gerry can also just go turn 3 Show and Tell and put a big hamper on it. I don't know if he has one in his hand, but I see a couple blue cards.
It's really risky for him to run that plan against Bing, though, with the Jaces. Like, unless he's actually checked to see if the coast is clear on Jace. And resolving it is especially hard post-board when he's got to deal with Pyroblast and REB. And
right. I mean,
it's probably his backup plan.
I mean, especially on the draw, because on the play, you can play out Show and Tell, and they can't put Jason. You can put Emrakul in. But if they're on the play, they can hit 4 mana on their next turn and chase back an Emrakul. So Bing plays Pithy Needle, naming a card.
Yeah.
Shelldock
Probably
named Shelldock Isle. Although he could have just tried to get Gerry and named a fetch land.
Too bold. Too bold.
I don't know.
Verdant Catacombs. He named the land.
Yeah. So Verdant Catacombs shut down. So that land is not going to be doing much of anything.
Gerry casually drops Urborg onto the field. It's an interesting choice. I guess he pegged that Gerry's deck tends to be a little mana light, so sliding this in here can be pretty strong. But Gerry actually had a pretty reasonable amount of land in his opening hand.
I mean, I think it's also Bing just wants tempo. Like, if he gets the time to set up his counterbalance with his top, he'll probably win the game.
Well, the fact that he decided to tap out on this turn is also pretty telling.
Yeah.
Because now he doesn't actually have to worry about Gerry popping something silly.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I understand why Gerry didn't crack in response there, because I think Gerry kind of wanted him to name a fetch land to maybe get it off Shelldock Isle. Maybe he just didn't think he would do it, but regardless, Gerry is he essentially just got Stone Rained essentially. So that's Reverent Silence. You can have 6 life. I'll destroy your counterbalance.
Yep. Unless there's a Jace on top.
All right, let's see. Oh,
Nope.
Not a Jace.
Nice. Think about that
So,
force.
for those who don't know what Reverent Silence does, it's G3, but you seldom cast it for that. And it says, destroy all enchantments, and you can give your opponent 6 life to play it for free.
And it resolved Carpet of Flowers.
Yep, Carpet Flowers comes down. So that's going to give Gerry the mana that he gives back. So yeah, he's probably hoping that Bing would name a fetch land.
Yeah.
So he could drop out that Carpet of Flowers and start generating a ton of mana.
What's interesting that if Bing would name a fetch land there, I would think he would probably force the carpet and try and keep Gerry off the colors here, but...
Okay. So Bing casts Trinket Mage.
Yeah.
But in Jerry's hand, he has Doomsday. Doomsday can come down next turn.
Another needle.
Another needle. This time, I think he'll probably go for Shelldock Isle.
Yeah. Gerry has land, Force, Doomsday, or his 3 cards? 4 cards. Limdol's Vault, he can actually
No, one of them is
counter this.
Emrakul.
Oh, Emrakul.
Yeah, Emrakul
Okay,
is last
it's
turn in his
Emrakul,
hand.
not Limdol's Vault.
Not doing too much. It would take a lot of Carpet of Flowers to cast that Emrakul, but it could happen.
Yeah.
Actually, not that unrealistic. Like, if you have 3 Carpet of Flowers, that's like, 12 mana in this situation.
He'd be my hero for pulling that one off.
What do you think our odds
Hero
are
of the day.
this weekend? It'd be pretty awesome. That's for sure. So he gets some mana off his carpet, and he cracks his Pluto Delta.
Oh no, being searched up the needle, but he didn't play it. He's leaving his top available. He probably wants to be able to find another blue card to pop his top for Force of Will if he needs to counter a spell.
Yeah, I mean, he probably has the idea that Gerry's going to be doing something this turn. He clearly led him on to hitting that fetch land. He wanted to resolve that Carpet of Flowers and use the mana for something. So, looks like Gerry is going to go for Doomsday here. And we'll let you know exactly what happened as soon as we get the camera angle back. But all right, yeah, looks like Gerry cast Doomsday, and
Being forced
it was forced. Yeah.
Removing another Force, I believe. He had 2 in his hand, so
Could be.
it doesn't look. His top's still on the field. Yeah, he removed his other Force, just Pithing Needle in his hand now.
All right.
Gerry has the option of dropping a Pithing Needle on top here,
All right.
but he
just
does
decides
not
to
take
pass.
it. Yeah.
What else do you think you would name with your needle if not top?
I don't know.
I mean, I'm sure, like in the back of his mind, Wasteland is certainly a concern, even though Bing doesn't have any. Gerry doesn't know that.
It's possible he decided that Bing's a little bit far behind right now. That it wouldn't gain him much to name it at this point. Like playing it on top next turn is fundamentally pretty close to playing it on top this turn.
Well, yeah.
He'll look in response either way.
You can see another card.
Yeah,
though.
exactly.
But
The real risk is if he draws a fetch land and gets a fresh 3.
Right. But I think Gerry's probably playing to something with that needle. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but Gerry probably has a better idea.
Well, Gerry's always said that part of the way he plays his game is figuring all the ways out to not lose. So, playing the needle there doesn't necessarily keep him from losing. Holding on to it, he gives Bing a little more value, but...
So, needle comes down that time on Shelldock Isle, I presume?
Shelldock Isle on the second needle? Yes.
Yep, Shelldock.
Confirmed.
Alright, so now Gerry brings the Pithing Needle down. And so Gerry's gripping 2 Forces on an Emrakul.
And here we'll probably name top, content to let the Force ride it.
Bing is probably just going to activate that top in response. Yep, goes for the top.
Land something. Put it right back in the
He's
same
gonna-
exact order.
Puts it back, yep.
He's going to stack a look and then pop the top,
And
planning
then
to shuffle it
practice
away.
fetch land.
Yeah.
Yep, that's a great play. Yeah, for those who don't know how the stack trick works, you can activate the one ability of the top, respond by tapping it to draw a card. So it goes on top of your library and you draw a card, and then before the one ability resolves, you can sacrifice your fetch land, shuffle, and then the one ability of the top will resolve, even though it's long gone from the battlefield. So it's a neat little trick Bing and Luke pulled there that maybe the average player might not have seen. Something for all you guys at home to be able to pick up and use in your next Legacy tournament.
Top tricks are pretty key to Legacy.
Yeah, certainly. Knowing how to use your tops correctly.
And just being aware of how your opponent can use a top also.
Right. For example, like another top trick some people don't know is if you activate your top to draw a card and your top isn't there when the ability resolves, you still draw the card. So like, say you activate the top and you crack engineer explosives in response, you'll still pick up the card and the top will just go away. So there's some little tricks you can pull there. So Bing shuffles and rearranges his top 3. Thanks to the long on top, but he no longer has a top. But Gerry's still probably naming top with Pithy Needle.
Jace
He names Jace the Mind Sculptor.
That wily Gerry T.
So Gerry got Bing to
vindicate a top and
vindicate a top. Yes, and counterbalance comes down, but without the top, it's just going to be blind. And Bing serves him with that Trinket Mage, dealing damage 2 points at a time.
That time I think we did draw Limdale's Vault. If I can't see it especially well. It's pretty dark, but I think that's what we picked up. And that's a nice card in this position.
Yeah, that's Limdale's Vault.
I smell a show and tell coming on.
All right, Limdale's Vault. And Gerry points to the Carpet of Flowers.
He realizes as a spell snare, he doesn't have to reveal for counterbalance.
Here, right?
Well, there's still the counterbalance trigger that Bing hasn't resolved.
But if this Limdale's Vault resolves, Gerry is just so far ahead here. So
there's Bing. Oh, Bing knows these. Our mistake.
Yep. All right.
He did grab at the deck for a second, but he probably realized that he had not set a 2 on top.
So he loses 1 life every time he chooses the index, except for the first. So
yes.
For those who don't know what Limdale's Vault does, it's kind of a crazy card. You pay a blue and a black. It's an instant, and you look at your top 5 cards. You can pay 5 life, or pay 1 life. Sorry. Put it on the bottom and look at a new 5 cards. And you can keep doing this as many times as you want, so you can essentially find the perfect 5-card stack you're looking for, at least some that pretty close. And then you shuffle all the cards about the 5-card stack that you keep.
Now, so we don't know what color Gerry made with the Carpet of Flowers, because that could actually affect whether he can keep this pile or not really significantly.
So he pointed to the Carpet of Flowers, and then also pointed to the tap the Underground.
Yeah, so we don't actually know which one.
So it turns out he needs to pass the turn.
Okay.
And Bing drew and passed back. And I think Gerry is...
He got a Brainstorm, there's a Doomsday on top of the deck.
Did Gerry not shuffle after that Limdale's Vault?
He just kept those 5.
I thought he used it once or twice.
No, he only used it once. He just thought about the 5 over and over.
Because wasn't he at 13 life when it began?
I don't believe he used it. I don't believe he actually looked a second time. Like the first 5 had a Brainstorm and a Doomsday, and that's what he just brainstormed into. So, to be fair, the other 3 cards are mildly irrelevant if those are the 2 you're concerned about.
Sure. All right. So
another Brainstorm is incredibly nice to hit with when you're about to play
Doomsday.
Day of Doom.
Did you draw it, Bing Luke? Gerry T stares across the board.
Now, the way Bing reached for his deck kind of indicates...
He brainstorms in response. He's like, all right, come on. Show me something good.
The 3rd card is you see how he peeled the 3rd one slightly slower? Yeah. He was looking for something.
Almost certainly. Did he find it? Did he find it? Oh, taps 1.
Brainstorm again, the 3rd card again.
He's digging for counterspell.
Or just a 3 for his counterbalance.
Sure. Fire Splat. Flip Fire Splat.
I have a feeling he didn't get there.
Nah, he did not move cards quickly enough. I mean, Bing is a deliberate player, but I have a feeling that 3 would have been quickly moved.
Contemplating.
Can I win in this situation?
Curious if anyone from Twitter saw him move the thing, because I don't believe he looked multiple times, unless he did it really fast.
I was pretty sure Gerry started at the turn at 13 life.
The Doomsday resolves.
Alright, so Doomsday resolves, and here comes Gerry, setting up his plan.
I imagine in this position he's just going to go for a show and tell kill. He already played a Brainstorm this turn via the Carpet of Flowers, correct? So he still has blue mana?
a brainstorm.
Huh?
Kills a brainstorm.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like, he has 4 blue mana floating.
Yeah.
If he, I believe he carpet flowers for blue, played 1 brainstorm. He has 4 blue mana floating, so he can play the other brainstorm, drawing the show and tell. But he won't have. Will he have enough cards? No, because he put back the Emrakul, so he does have to wait a turn.
So he just has to brainstorm and kill.
Yeah.
So like, he brainstorms in the Shelldock Isle.
Well, the Shelldock Isle's been pithing needled already, so he'll have to remove the pithing needle if he goes that route. Yeah. So, I mean, he can go the show and tell kill, or he can search up grip Shelldock Isle, or he can even do both. Like, keep both available.
Right.
There are a lot of
So
possibilities.
his Jerry's are rearranging Doomsday, Repeal, Emrakul.
Shelldock Isle, something else I can't tell.
Probably Show and Tell, but or is it Cloud of Fairies?
I think it's it's probably Cloud of Fairies to go with the brainstorm, so he can next turn. Yeah. So next turn you draw whatever card, brainstorm, then play Shelldock Isle, Cloud of Fairies. And he searches up the other Doomsday so that he can put cards back into his deck in the event that he needs additional turns.
All right.
He's doing it now.
Jerry casts Brainstorm. Picks up his 3 cards.
Interesting. Knows
He knows exactly what he wants
he's
to do.
doing.
Plays Shelldock Isle.
Mm-hmm.
Puts the Emrakul underneath. And sets his library exactly the way he wants it.
I imagine that exact way involves repeal.
I would also imagine a very similar thing.
Now, he does have to repeal for 2 here.
Right? If that repeal gets countered, he's in a rough situation. Now he can still Doomsday and set up
Yeah,
the
he'll
same
just have
thing
to run it
again.
back, as it were. But that Trinket Mage will eventually get there.
Yeah, I mean, by eventually we mean very soon.
Yeah.
Alright, so he passes back.
Yep.
sitting on
Emrakul's
that
a fine
repeal.
defender, you know? Like,
Takes 2, drops to 1 life.
same as any other number, really.
Being excitedly taps his lands here. I wonder what he is.
Jace.
Jace.
The Pithing Needled. And
Plays
counterbalance, no cards in hand.
Alright, he's like, Bing knows what's up.
He wants those permanents. If he can keep Trinket Mage alive, Jerry won't even be able to attack with Emrakul.
Oh no, for Jerry.
But he doesn't
All
have
right.
enough, I don't think. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. I count only 11.
I'm pretty sure Jerry's looking at it if it was rounded up or rounded down.
You can't survive 2 Emrakul attacks either way.
So I think Jerry just checks to see if it's rounded up or rounded down for Doomsday to see if he could re-Doomsday to
Yeah,
put
he
that
doesn't want to deck.
repeal back. Well, he's at 1 life.
Well, no, right now he needs 2 Emrakul attacks to actually win the game, and repeal draws him a card.
Right.
So,
So
oh, it's wipe away, not repeal. Okay. Well, then he's fine. Oh, he didn't have the mana. I see what you're saying. Yeah. He was shy of mana the way he decided to do it.
all right.
This is his additional turn. He'll have to Doomsday to live,
But he can't
but he can't.
because it's rounded up, right? Or is it rounded? I don't know.
He did get repeal. Okay, we did see right. He just also had wipe away.
Like the way Jerry looked at that Doomsday, it seemed as though it was rounded up and it would kill him. Yep, and it was.
All right.
Jerry slightly messes up his Doomsday pile, takes a little bit too much damage from that Trinket Mage,
Yep, just enough.
and if 2 life would have been okay, but 1 life,
One life.
is not enough.
Oh, so what could he have? I'm trying to see if there's anything else he could have done really.